we'll start off with the PS5. We'll start off with the PS5 price raises because yesterday was a wild day. I'm not shocked by this at all. It's almost, to be honest, like when you see this stuff happen, especially on the PlayStation side, and you see some of the way that the fanboys talk about PlayStation, it's almost like they want this stuff to happen. They almost like this, especially when they're like celebrating the rumors about pulling back from the PC side. Now, hardware raises really doesn't have anything to do with that. This is going to be the cheapest way to play GTA when it comes out. I wonder how the game will run on it, but this is kind of how crazy the console market is right now with the prices that are going up. And of course, the reasoning because we're talking about this is because of what happened with this yesterday. The new price changes for the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro and the PlayStation 5 Portal. So they announced this yesterday. Not shocking. I think this is gonna. We'll see if there's any more changes in the future. Maybe Xbox falls suit. We're seeing some analysts say that Xbox is done raising their prices. But here's the new price changes for PS5 and the PS5 Pro. So you got in the US, PS5 now is $649. I believe it was $549 before the jump. PS5 digital $599, and the PS5 Pro is now $900. So after taxes and depending, I guess, where you live on the percentage of tax you pay and everything, that's going to be over $1,000 here for the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is a pretty crazy ask here. And I mean, the PS5 Pro, when you look at it right now with PSSR 2, it's doing some good stuff. I think it's improved a lot. It's finally past the beta stage, but we're in 2026. If the rumors hold true, they're releasing PS6 in 2027. And if the PS5 Pro is $900, what are they releasing the PS6 at? Like, I can't see it being more than $900. That may just be them preparing people for the base price of the PlayStation 6. But at the same time, it's like, is it worth spending almost $1,000 now on a PS5 Pro when you know the PS6 is coming out in about a year? Unless they're going to delay it, which it would be crazy if they did. I don't think that they will, with Project Helix seemingly on the horizon as well. Now, this all comes on the back of the rumors about pulling back from the PC. And you saw a lot of pundits, you saw a lot of people coming out and being like, oh, they're pulling back from the PC because they're afraid of the Steam machine, or they're afraid of Project Helix. And I think that is just like we talked about this last week. I don't think that has anything to do with the price changes or with the games leaving certain ecosystems from PlayStation. If you take a step back and you look at everything that's going on at PlayStation, there's been a couple of things that have happened in the last couple of weeks, right? So they've made a deal with TCL to kind of ship off their TV division with them. They've closed down a VFX studio at the same time that they closed down Dark Outlaw Studio. They closed down Blue Point. And now they're raising prices on the PlayStation 5. And one of the things that they have talked about is all the time in their financial reports for the last couple of years, I would say. I don't know if it was in every single one, but they've mentioned it a bunch of times, is their margins. Their margins were not good enough. They need to get better margins. And why are their margins not good enough? Because they're selling the same stuff to the same people and it's not expanding and it's not growing. And the cost of producing their games is becoming more and more expensive. The console market is stagnant. The amount of PlayStation 5 selling are going to be around the same as the PS4, maybe even less with these price raises by the time this generation is over. Who knows how this is going to affect their console sales? But they're doing all of this because they need to extract more money from their consumers. But with pulling back from PC, all this is going to do going forward. Now you have a PlayStation console that is more expensive to get into, and you're seeing PlayStation potentially going to be able to lock down prices of their games even more. Maybe I think they're going to raise the prices on their games as well going forward, their first party stuff. If they're only able to purchase them within the PlayStation store, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. It's going to be the same as we saw with Nintendo this week, where they're going to have like pricing. Nintendo's trying to sell the changes in their prices for physical and digital to them actually lowering the price of the digital version of the game, which is just kind of crazy. But I think we're going to see a lot more of this stuff going forward for the PlayStation. So you see the difference in pricing here. And you have to ask, like, why all this is happening. It's very odd. It doesn't seem like a way to expand out people to get into your market. I think they're basically like, costs have gotten too high and they're trying to cut back as much as possible. And then they're going to try to monetize their current base more by trying to extract more money from them to make up for the rising costs of everything. So it's a pretty crazy time here in PlayStation land. PS5 price going up April 2nd. So if you haven't picked one up yet, you have a couple of days, I guess, if you want to, and to get the current price. But I even at the current prices of consoles, I've said this before, like I don't even think Series X, Series S, PS5, all that. To me, it's still absurd that they're at these prices this long into the generation when we've seen every other generation have price cuts at this point. Like Series S are honestly be 199 max right now. Series X should be like 399. Same with the PS5. PS5 Pro like 599. Like I feel like those would be the more, but obviously we're obviously in a completely different era of economics and all the shit happening around the world, and then obviously of course the memory prices. But PS5 price raises. PlayStation fanboys have prayed for days like this. They're always talking about paying more, and they like that basically it's gate kept, and you pay for the quality and all this type of stuff. And if they truly do pull back from PC, which we don't fully know yet, that just means that they don't care about growing anymore right now. They're just trying to reduce their costs as much as possible, kind of just sustain to fight off the current market conditions and survive. Like that's what these moves sound like to me. Not that I think they're going anywhere. There's not going to be a PS6, but the moves PlayStation are making right now, even though fanboys were celebrating pulling back from PC, like that makes any difference at all on PlayStation console sales. It doesn't. We know it doesn't. PC games have not hurt PlayStation console sales whatsoever. It's a move to protect the business through these market conditions. That's basically what it is. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that they should definitely change the prices of the console. And like for example, why you're thinking like, okay, why such drastic moves? Because it's gotten so expensive. We have this as well. Jason Schreier put this out. Budgets for video game productions. It's insane. In the US and Canada, costing over 300 million to create games. We've already kind of known this. We've heard this before. But now Jason Schreier is saying this, and whatever you think of him, he does have insider information. He does talk to people within the industry. So it's relatively good info. He says exact budgets of video game productions can be tough to corroborate. More transparency from publishing would be nice. But the numbers I've heard floating around, AAA game dev these days are 300 million or more, sometimes much more, which I think helps explain the current state of the industry. And Concord lost over 400 million is what we've heard. To address some frequently asked questions, those are US and Canada productions. If you're wondering why Game X costs so much less, it was probably made elsewhere. These budgets are almost entirely dev salaries plus overhead and have nothing to do with executive compensation, which is mostly stock. So yeah, that's wild. And that's why they're trying to put AI into this stuff. They don't want to pay. They don't want to pay devs this current salaries. They don't want to pay all that overhead. So they're trying to reduce some of their overhead by adding artificial intelligence to help create some of the assets and stuff within games. And no matter how much gamers push back against it, I just don't think that is going to change. Like we're going to continue to see that happening, at least in the US and in Canada, and games developed here in all across the world. Even Crimson Desert was getting caught with like a bunch of AI art in their game. I feel like Xbox has not run through all their components, so they wouldn't have to raise it anytime soon. So the new wave of inflation is expected from the war in the Middle East, and this will compound the effect of the component price increases. So stupid. This may have had an influence on the scale of these price increases, and the standard PS5 will rise by 100 or 80% in the US, with a similar increase in the UK and Europe. Aside from a direct impact on hardware companies, I think this will cause some general industry concerns about what the broader impact will be on the market activity. Yeah, there's so much stupid shit going on in the world that like it's affecting everything here. And they say, will people be able to afford that? Beyond PlayStation, Nintendo is still at the start of the Switch 2 journey. It will want to drive customers to its platform. How do people react to the cost? Well, people are just going to stop buying consoles. Like they're going to buy less and less consoles. I mean, the console market already isn't growing. These prices increases are just literally going to make it worse. And getting people to buy your games, they're going to have to give them more options on how they can do it. And that's why I think when we look forward to where everything's going, Xbox has definitely set themselves up for a very, very good future if that's where everything's going. Like I don't want it to go in the way that direction is going with the price raises and then having to get lower costs of entry and consoles becoming more of a luxury thing. But that's just kind of the reality that we are in right now, which is very, very unfortunate.